This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. Work on Dunedin's historic courthouse is beginning in a couple of weeks. The government is committing $20 million to the earthquake strengthening and restoration project, and much of that money will be staying in the south.
Checking out an expensive asset, Justice Minister Amy Adams has been examining the historic Dunedin Courthouse in announcing the appointment of a lead contractor. The strengthening and restoration job is being handled by Southern Company Amalgamated Builders.
It is not a simple project, taking on a building of this complexity, this degree of historical importance, but we're very pleased today to announce that we have now secured the funding as part of Budget 2016.
Built at the turn of last century, the Category 1 historic building was closed in 2011. That prompted the legal community in Dunedin to rally public support for its retention. In January this year, Cabinet decided to save the courthouse, committing funds to its restoration.
I have a view that when you are the owner of a building of this sort of heritage importance, that comes with obligations and responsibilities, and even though it is a very large project, it was always going to be a very large project. This is the scope I always anticipated it would be. I was obviously a little cagey with my numbers while we were negotiating and just said north of 15 million, which was always the case. But I was always committed to seeing this work done.
It's intended that all court services will return to the building in early 2018. Construction set to be completed in just over a year's time. Much of the expense will be in modernising the facility and installing the latest technology being used by the Justice Ministry and Department of Corrections.
We're taking the opportunity to do everything we need to bring it up to a court of modern standard and functioning, so it includes not only upgrading it to between 60 and 70% of new building standard, which is higher than we have to go legally, but what we want to do as part of it. It involves redoing a lot of the facade and the point work on the stone while we're undertaking the works. Makes good sense. There are significant security upgrades for the building so that we're again operating to our modern expectations. There is a lot of technology upgrades planned within the building, the use of CCTV and audio-visual links, and making sure the court functions in the way that we want a modern court to function, so a much more flexible, user-friendly registry and public-facing areas, and a better design for all of those who use the building.
The courthouse was built in 1902 at a cost of £20,000, and all the classic furnishings will be retained. Amalgamated Builders says about 50 subcontracting companies will be involved, and almost all will be local. On average, 38 workers will be on site every day for the duration of the contract. Rosie Mannins, The South Today.
Traffic lights are to be installed at a busy intersection in Invercargill following public consultation. The Invercargill City Council approved the work after assessing several options to decrease the risk of crashes at the junction of Herbert and Calvin Streets. It's near Waihope School, and community members are pleased the intersection is being made safer. They're hoping it will help children crossing the street to and from the primary school. The council received 19 written submissions on the proposal, both in support and opposition. The traffic lights will be installed over the upcoming Christmas holiday break. A historic wharf from the first port of Invercargill is now closed to the public due to safety concerns. Decking on the Steed Street wharf is severely decayed, and authorities are reviewing how best to repair it, and it's not yet known who'll foot the bill.
Once upon a time in 1860, the Invercargill estuary was home to the southernmost port of New Zealand. Since then, the Port of Bluff has taken over the role, and a redundant historic jetty has been turned into part of the 5-kilometre Invercargill estuary walkway. But now the City Council has declared the wharf to be unsafe.
The historic wharf is regularly checked because it's quite old, and as part of our last check we were concerned about a couple of things, so we've got expert advice on it to have a look at it. It advises that it is a risk to public, the decking at present, so we've close it until we can get some further investigations underway as to what we can do with it.
That means the wharf is closed until further notice. The Invercargill City Council is looking to repair the toll that time has taken on the structure, but the damage is extensive.
The decking itself, it's decaying, it's Australian hardwood, and There's pieces come out, so there's quite big gaps that you could put your foot down, and there's rot in other parts of it, and bolts and nails which have come loose, and timber which is split.
Pagan says the wharf will be closed for at least a couple of months while Parks and Reserves Management looks at options for restoration. The council's wanting to make sure the Category 2 historic structure is preserved, but it's not yet known who will foot the bill. Pagan says the surrounding area, which has been a hotspot for Pokemon Go users, is still fully open and operational.
It's a good photo opportunity for people, for photographs, weddings, etc. So we'll be seeing what we can do to get it going again.
While the wharf's closed, the nearby walking track, replica Lady Barclay train and original fishing boat are still open and available for public use. Ruby Spink, The South Today.
2 people are injured following a paraglider crash near Queenstown this morning. Police, a rescue helicopter and other emergency services were called to the incident below Coronet Peak just after 11 a.m. Officers say 2 people had to be extracted from the wreckage with moderate and minor injuries. It's believed the paraglider was carrying a pilot and a paying passenger when it crashed on a steep slope about halfway between the takeoff point and landing site. The reserve parachute was reportedly deployed and the Civil Aviation Authority has been notified. Today is the day when New Zealand police officers formally acknowledge their colleagues who've died on duty. Services have been held throughout the south, including at some of the smaller regional stations. And for one precinct, it was an inaugural ceremony.
Tears were shed remembering Balclutha Police employee Pauline Burrows, who lost a fight with cancer 2 years ago. Her 32-year contribution to the station was marked as part of a wider service for Police Remembrance Day. It's about remembering all 32 officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty and the 40 who have died as a result of their jobs.
Yeah, like I say, they were just trying to do the right thing for the community and stop it from trouble from escalating, and they paid the ultimate price, unfortunately.
Balclutha police officers were joined by Burrows' relatives in gathering at the Balclutha Community Police Centre for a discreet ceremony this morning.
It was all pretty sudden for us, and her of course, yeah, it was quite upsetting. It is upsetting for us, and we still haven't forgotten, so we like to keep that memory alive.
This is the first Police Remembrance Day service held in Balclutha. The event is recognised in Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Samoa and the Solomon Islands.
Yes, there's one, quite a large one being held in First Church in Dunedin, and it seems to be growing around the sub-area stations.
September 29 is known as the feast day of the Archangel Michael, patron saint of police. Senior Sergeant Dickey says it is a reminder for staff not to be complacent and to be aware of the potentially fatal risks that frontline officers take. Samuel White, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we take a look at a potentially profitable school holiday activity and we'll find out why the artwork of some Pacific school children is on display in Arrowtown.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award-winning Garrador.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I stood for council in the 2013 election and got elected. The achievements I've been part of in the last 3 years have been of a great benefit to Dunedin City. Reducing debt, improving contracts and better liaison with the general public to further reduce debt and better management of all contracts. Vote Doug Hall, first choice for council.
Hello, my name is Bruce Fairhurst. The City Council is a giant decision-making machine, and every year they make thousands of decisions that affect ratepayers, some in a small way, some in a large way. It's really important that those decisions are fair, made in a democratic way, and made with accurate and reliable information. I've lived my entire life in Dunedin, and I love it here. I've been working in the construction industry all of that time. I've seen massive changes in the consent process, making it difficult to build or improve your property. I see opportunities to make this process much more user-friendly. Vote Bruce Fairhurst with a 1. I'm looking forward to joining a talented team on the council this term and making Dunedin the best city it can possibly be.
Hi, I'm Dave Yardley and I'm standing for the Otago Regional Council. Two of Otago's greatest resources are our outstanding natural landscape and our capability for agriculture. Getting the balance right between preservation of that landscape and intensification of farming is a real challenge. To meet that challenge, we need a firm understanding of both our environment and our land-based businesses. I have that understanding to ensure that our landscape and farming can coexist in harmony for generations to come. A vote for Dave Yardley is a vote for reason, balance and integrity.
Hello, my name is Malcolm Dixon. I'm standing for the Dunedin City Council. I've been in retail for 40 years in Dunedin and I would like to see some changes in the city. I'm passionate about growing business opportunities in Dunedin. Transport and parking issues are important to me, and flooding and management of city assets, especially in South Dunedin area, are a major issue. So remember to vote for Malcolm Dixon at Dunedin City Council.
Come one, come all to the Oamaru Victorian Heritage Celebrations, a year to reflect on the intriguing world of medicine in the Victorian era. 16th to the 20th of November, www.vhc.co.nz for more information.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 15 years. New doors, replacement doors, repairs and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team at 553 Kaikoura Valley Road. Visit www.garrador.co.nz or call us on 488 5676.
If you're eligible to vote in the local body elections, you should have received your voting papers by now. Elections are being held for Mayor, the Dunedin City Council and its community boards, and the Otago Regional Council. Information about candidates and the different types of voting systems is included with your voting papers, or visit dunedin.govt.nz/elections. All voting papers will list candidates randomly so that every voting paper is different. Remember, you have the right to vote. Don't be left out. Vote early.
Welcome back. A local branch of a national organisation is about to celebrate its 35th anniversary. Rape Crisis Dunedin has been supporting survivors of sexual violence since the early 1980s, and in that time staff have seen thousands of women come through the doors.
Getting last-minute details finalised for this weekend's Live, Thrive and Survive March. Staff at Rape Crisis Dunedin say it's an event that helps bring continued awareness to the work they do.
It's a real credit to the mana wahine that we've had involved in this organisation. They've done a fantastic job in supporting their fellow women in the community.
The organisation provides a 24-hour crisis line and free counselling, but knowing the real statistics around the number of rape survivors today is difficult to determine.
We do, however, know that over the past 3 or so years we have had an increase of referrals to our organisation, and this is just a testament to our strong relationship with the Dunedin Police.
And it's that relationship with the police and an increased uptake in community education programs that have been instrumental in getting the issue talked about.
And also actually the gutsy women who have done a lot of that work in New Zealand raising these issues, people like Louise Nicholas and Kim McGregor and the National Rape Crisis Collective.
The Live, Thrive and Survive March is on this weekend and anyone's welcome to join in. Dee Karen, The South Today.
For some children, the school holidays means hours in front of the television or trips to the movies. But in the South, something a little more unique is on the agenda, and there are some fortunes at stake.
Panning for gold. 2 groups of young rugby players have spent an afternoon seeking a glimmer of hope in Arrowtown. Wendy Clark is an educator for the Lakes District Museum and was showing the boys how the panning's done. She says there's a particular technique to doing it right.
You create a tornado in the water, so you get water mixing with the silt and the pebbles. The gold theoretically goes to the bottom. So if you keep washing away the silt and washing away the pebbles, eventually, if you're a patient miner, you might get some gold in the bottom.
The gold panning is part of a wider education program about demonstrating the lifestyle of colonial New Zealanders. Clark says it's becoming more common for international visitors to take part. This group is made up of members from 2 Australian rugby clubs, and they've been taking to the task well.
12-year-old boys, they're really sweet, really nice age. They're not too cool for school, and yeah, they're pretty good at listening and instruction, so most of them found gold.
School groups and other visitors to the museum get to experience life in a Victorian classroom, touching and handling tools from the era. Staff are also offering tours around the surrounding historic township. Clark says Arrowtown's well preserved, and the whole place is like a living artefact. It's an experience visitors can't get elsewhere.
And there are other places you can go gold panning, but here we've got the whole package. We've got immigration from the Chinese, we've got the story of the Chinese, story of the early settlers coming here in the 1860s and building a town in the middle of nowhere. It's a very interesting story, and there are so many reminders here of that story.
She says it's necessary for the program to be unique and diverse in order for the museum to survive. The good news is that the government recently furnished a 3-year contract for staff to carry on. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
After the break on The South Today, an educational initiative adorns the walls of an Arrowtown museum, and it could make some money as well. And we'll take a look at weather for the end of the working week.
Silberhorn's Collagen Plus naturally supports your collagen levels, giving you younger, firmer-looking skin, healthier, shinier hair and stronger nails. Be quick, buy one now and get a second pack half price. Call 0800 502 402.
Hi, I'm Joshua Perry, currently working in social services, and I am standing for the Dunedin City Council. I support improvements in student housing, business investment, waterfront development, and South Dunedin for restoration. Dunedin should be accessible for all, and if I'm elected, I will make Dunedin a vibrant destination.
Authorised by Joshua Perry, 95 North Road, North East Valley.
Come one, come all to the Oamaru Victorian Heritage Celebrations, a year to reflect on the intriguing world of medicine in the Victorian era. 16th to the 20th of November, www.vhc.co.nz for more information.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 15 years. New doors, replacement doors, repairs and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team at 553 Kaikoura Valley Road. Visit www.garrador.co.nz or call us on 488 5676.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Put your seatbelts on for this one and rev it up. Thursday night is Motorsport Night. Proudly brought to you by multi-award-winning Garrador.
Hi, I'm Dave Cole, Mayor of Dunedin, and together we're building a great city. Not just for now, but for the future. And I'm committed to creating a positive legacy of sensible investments, sustainable businesses, an emphasis on infrastructure and environment, healthier homes, and your community well-being. A future our kids can be really proud to inherit. If you want the same positive future, please mark 1 for Dave Cole for Mayor and return your voting form. Thanks.
If you're eligible to vote in the local body elections, you should have received your voting papers by now. Elections are being held for Mayor, the Dunedin City Council and its community boards, and the Otago Regional Council. Information about candidates and the different types of voting systems is included with your voting papers, or visit dunedin.govt.nz/elections. All voting papers will list candidates randomly so that every voting paper is different. Remember, you have the right to vote. Don't be left out. Vote early.
Welcome back. An art exhibition showing the work of Vanuatu and school children is on display at the Lakes District Museum. It's the result of an educational initiative, and there's hope it will generate funds for needy communities.
Unique art from a foreign country. The NZ Epi Island Incentive Trust recently sent a team to Vanuatu to teach pupils about making a living from traditional art. Teacher Janelle Aston was part of the team and says members came up with a practical way of teaching art to the children.
And we needed to have a small, easy to deliver program that was not too high tech, that perhaps the kids could use to potentially make money in the future.
Art isn't part of the curriculum in Vanuatu, so the printmaking was designed to fill that gap. The children were told to come up with an image, such as an animal, that was important to them. They then drew that on a piece of MDF. Once a template was drawn, artists had to identify which part to carve and which to leave, which Aston says is a difficult task for anyone. But the kids were naturally gifted when it came to woodwork.
Carving's in their culture, so they are pretty good at carving. And they just love the carving, you know, like they're just obsessed, and they won't go and have lunch, and they won't, you know, they'll come after school and things like that.
The NZ Epi Island Incentive Trust began with one dental worker who brought dental care and resources to island communities. The focus has since expanded to include cultural and art education. Aston says art could be a good way to keep the families and villages of Vanuatu together.
The idea was to give the children an idea of how creativity could potentially be another career rather than, you know, having to go and work in Australia or New Zealand to make money.
There are 40 prints available for purchase around the walls of the gallery. The profits are going directly towards helping the school children who made the work. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Southern firm Amalgamated Builders has won the $20 million contract to strengthen and restore Dunedin's historic courthouse. The Invercargill City Council is looking at ways to repair the badly decayed Steed Street wharf, which is now closed to the public. And Balclutha officers have been holding their first Police Remembrance Day service, honouring those who've died in the line of duty. And it's time now to find out what's going to be inside tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and editor Barry Stewart joins us. Good evening.
Hello Rebecca. ID Fashion Week. Went to the annual meeting of that, and it has swung from profit to a significant loss on the back of, as is traditionally in Dunedin, slow ticket sales. So that's disappointing. However, on a good note, on a positive note, Otago tourism has experienced the second biggest year of growth, up 9.6% to $3.2 billion. So that's not a bad return, is it?
Not too bad at all.
Look out also in the ODT tomorrow for the first of our pages on the Arts Festival, the Dunedin Arts Festival. Lots of interesting material there. And standing down after 27 years as a councillor on the Otago Regional Council, Louise Crute refuses to say she is retiring. And we've also uncovered the foundations of the Shamrock and Thistle Hotel.
Oh.
Know where that is?
No.
Well, I can tell you. So foundations of that have been unearthed during construction of the University of Otago Animal Research Facility.
Ooh.
Who knew there was a Shamrock and Thistle Hotel?
Who knew indeed? Details in tomorrow's ODT.
History.
Absolutely, yes, and I'm loving the talk on the corners in the wash at the moment. Fantastic stuff.
The
A little
wash-
bit before my time, I can't contribute, but it's so
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, the wash is interesting. It engages really well with our readers and our community, and unearths all sorts of bizarre and fascinating things. So yeah, keep an eye out for the wash. Well,
Absolutely
well pointed
does.
out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. That's tomorrow's ODT.
Thank you.
It's time now for tomorrow's weather.
The South Today weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn's Emu Oil.
Here's our southern view. It's taken of daffodils on the banks of the Clutha River. A lovely day, good to see the sun. A weak ridge of high pressure is spreading over the country now. It's going to bring a mostly fine day ahead of us tomorrow, and another north to northeast flow though is back in over the weekend. We're expecting some clouds over the Catlins tomorrow, otherwise fine for these towns, 18 degrees in Gore. Fine weather for Central and Southern Lakes towns, 19 degrees tomorrow for Alexandra and Wanaka. And cloud with nor'easters for Oamaru and Timaru, both on 14, but a fine day awaits in Marama and Twizel on 18 degrees each. And Dunedin tonight, patches of low clouds which may bring some drizzle and an overnight low of 7. Tomorrow becoming fine with nor'easters, 15 degrees, and on Saturday high cloud increasing, those nor'easters are back 17 degrees. And in Invercargill this evening, a low of 7, but fine. Mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with light nor'easters, 18 degrees, and on Saturday cloud increasing with some rain developing at night. Nor'easters freshening, 17 degrees. And that is news from the South today. We'll join you again tomorrow. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.